Pittsburgh created a storyline where they violated my rights very brutally as a child. They made up allegations about me that they created a Citizens Bound radio tag team, alleging that I needed to clear my name of their lies about me and prove myself worthy of not having had my civil rights violated before I could claim that they were, and I was a child. Their union mentality has always included this story that once I'm dead, they'll start saying, allowing things to be said about me that are not hostile. The cruelty and sadism that they visit on me, mocking me about Parkinson's, for example, is the sort of sadism and cruelty that they have unleashed on Vietnam and they have unleashed on Gaza. They tortured me. Now they claim that I have made it personal between myself and Iowa. So I'm making a recording to put into perspective what they are mongering. I don't really understand how it could come to pass that Iowa owed me nothing. No dignity, no respect for my childhood. And yet, they have advocated for the claim that they did not owe me anything whatsoever. They could pump me full of psychiatric medicines, manufacture a false arrest, lie about how I was tortured, torment me while I was in seizures, lock me up, despite the fact that my father was an old Navy man who grew up in Tipton, Cedar Rapids, and Dallas City, Iowa. I used to go there as a little boy. The essence of Pittsburgh's claims are that I owed them performance as a child soldier. Now, the University of Pittsburgh doesn't respect or honor any decisions that are made by the United States in terms of law. So they can hold a child in foreign pornography and genocide ring run by Japanese revenge specialists in Highland Park with no qualms, just as their allies in Nazi Israel trashed the Camp David treaties today by seizing the Rafah crossing in violation of Egypt's agreement that they would not do that. But the essence of the idea that child soldiers hold legitimacy is the claim they allow, and so Iowa says we will honor that. Now, put aside what they have done to me a moment. Let's talk about my father. He identified with Iowa so strongly that he wanted to be buried there. He was very proud of being from Iowa. He loved Iowa. He took me there and showed me where he grew up. Took me there to visit Grandpa Mac. He played the Iowa State tennis champion and won. My grandfather won the 1906 Iowa Athletic Association handicap race. He was a lumberjack and dairy farmer. Old Mac and Rye had no known enemies in Iowa, except maybe Ryland's first wife before World War II and her daughters. But as Barry Eisen said, or as Edward Eisen said of his brother Barry, Barry had made enemies for him before he even announced his own agency as a person. It seems my father's human rights activity had made it acrimonious for me to even exist. I was so brutally attacked that I had no sense of person for a very long time. And despite their attempts to twist everything they remember about me to a seedy defamation justifying what they have pulled, which is this horrifying script from Yoko Ono and Gail Burston. Tim Wolf's comment, I wasn't much of a person, shows you the truth of my contention that they had created a vacuum in my sense of self. I was just an empty hole into which people were pouring things. Why would they do this to Ryland's memory? Well, there have been attempts to put the burden on that. Carrie Sylvester, a doctor who suggested I take the whole bottle of a psychiatric medicine for all she cared. She put it right on the prescription. Said that she doubted my father passed on anything in his genes that made me the troublemaker she said would fail at school. So I was banned for 12 years while they toxicated me and set up Parkinson's and threatened me to this hour cruelly with worse. They're extremely cruel people. Mentally disturbed authoritarians from Pittsburgh, Seattle. They have no grasp of what they've done. When I tried to warn them, it was as a peer, as a person concerned about their health and safety. Seattle refused to listen to me. And as a result, Gail Burston and David Jeffen were never challenged. And now we have Gaza and them to thank. Iowa, throughout all of this, took the side of Ronald Reagan because he was a powerful authoritarian. He defamed my father. How would you like your father to die and have somebody come and put their boot on his face and say, oh, those liberals? His life was dedicated to humanism. He drove a school bus. To have these people put a boot on his face after he was dead and say, worse than communism. And Iowa refused to stand up for me. They refused to stand up for my father, even though the Reagans initiated the defamations and the violence. And I'll be hanged if I'm going to kowtow to their horrible cronyism.